Okay, so I did one about God and how I think that God is kind of like the force. It's kind of he's kind of like in everything, but he's not. First of all, not a he, and it's kind of like it's like how do I explain? It's not like a consciousness, and it's not like looking after 7 billion people and stuff like that. But I'm gonna play the devil's advocate to that. What if God does exist? That would be. I don't know if it's crazier to think that God doesn't exist or to think that God does exist, because it's like, how does everything start from like, okay, how is time infinite? Like, how is there no really beginning to time? I don't. How does that start? Like, there is no true. You say the Big Bang, but like, what was before that? Like a trillion years before the Big Bang. Like, how does time have no start? That doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? If I start this video right now, it's rolling. Do you know what I mean? But like, how does how is time infinite? Like infinitely backwards? Like how does something start from nothing, and then it's like, how does it not have a beginning? This doesn't make sense. But there's no beginning to time. That makes no sense. Do you know what I mean? Okay, let's go 100 trillion years before the Big Bang. Like, how is there no does nobody else think about that? That's fucking crazy when you think about it. So maybe there is a God. I don't fucking know. Like, dude, like that would be, for there to be no beginning to everything, I think is actually more trippy. When you say that time is infinitely backwards, I think that that is a trippier concept than saying that God either exists or doesn't exist, because it doesn't make sense how time doesn't have a start. Because what's before that? Do you know what I mean? Okay, I don't know if I'm being clear. But that would be crazy, right? Like if a God exists, like what if he really does like micromanage 7 billion people? It's not the craziest concept. Like it might happen. Like every civilization has believed in God. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. I think that part of the reason that God has been in every civilization, I think that humans are very savage. In a way, we can be very, very savage. And I think to say there's a God and he's sorry, I just hiccuped. There's a God and he's looking down at you, and if you do something wrong, then you're gonna go to hell. It kind of makes people be better people. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it helps them to not be savage to each other. It's like, well, I want to get into heaven and you want to get into heaven, so like let's be good people. Do you know what I mean? So I think that that's part of the reason that God is kind of, and it explains a lot of things. God's explained things. You know what I mean? It makes things more palpable. It makes things more, it just makes things make more sense. But I don't know. It'd be crazy if there's a God. I don't know. Like I said in the earlier video, I think that there's like an entity. This isn't gonna make sense. I don't. You know, I used to believe in God, and then I kind of didn't believe in God, and then I kind of believed in God. So I kind of want to see what I think in 5 or 10 years, because my thoughts might completely change. You know what I mean? I haven't been firm-footed in my belief. I've kind of like thought God was like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. But it's pretty crazy if you think about it, like how God, the concept of God. I mean, maybe God does exist. Do you know what I mean? Um, I think it would be cool if he did, or if God, I shouldn't say he or she, but, I think it would be cool. It's a cool concept. I hope there is a heaven,